Hey Joseph, Michael Montero here from Ring Magazine. How you doing?
Michael, good, thanks. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I feel like I'm talking to the future. It's Saturday morning for you. It's Friday afternoon here. Um,
We're ahead of the game.
yeah, man. You guys like? Can you tell me what's going to happen? What stocks I should buy? Or no? I appreciate you taking some time out of your weekend. I can hear kids back there playing. I know you got a house full of girls there. So thank you very much for taking some
Oh,
time
no, you're
to
welcome.
talk with me.
No, you're welcome. No, all good.
Let's jump right into it, man. I wanted to talk to you about the social media videos. I saw you just put out another one, man, with Anchorman, and you kind of lip synced all the different parts, and it was spot on, like second for second, spot on. You've done ones with Back to the Future. I mean, it just started really with you inside your house with your partner Lane, and you guys were just dancing. Then you were outside dancing and doing all these different songs. What inspired you to start making these videos?
Yeah, I mean, when the lockdown was just starting off, it was the whole world was just going into the sort of like what's going to happen. Like there was an unknown, and then I think people were panicking and people were worried. And I guess all the ideas are my friend's ideas. His name is Kerry Russell, and he's part of my bubble. And he helps with the groceries here and there, but he also is very good on behind the camera, and his editing skills are like the best. And he just comes up with the ideas, and the idea was to just spread a bit of positivity and to remind people that even though you're going to be stuck at home, you can have fun and you can you can have a laugh and enjoy yourself. And I think with that, with the reaction that we got, that just pushed us a bit more to just to keep going and to keep trying to inspire and to keep showing them that or giving people hope.
Yeah, I mean the reaction was so big. Did it surprise you the reaction that you got? And it was international too. It wasn't just over there in that part of the world. It seemed like everybody in the fight community and even non-fight fans loved the videos. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I was very surprised because I didn't expect we're just doing it as a way of, like I said, to have fun because it's really fun for us just to do it. We're having a good time, we're laughing and enjoying ourselves, but also it's giving everyone else something to laugh at and smile at. And I think the reaction has been pretty crazy. Like I didn't expect it to be like this.
And you said it was your friend Kerry Russell. So I was going to ask you, I mean, do you come up with the ideas? Does he? Do you take suggestions from maybe some of your followers on social? Is it a mix of all those things?
We see a lot of suggestions, and a lot of people suggest this and that, and it's when we look at it, it is quite funny. But the ideas come solely from Kerry Russell. He sort of just I text him, hey, what's up? He goes, I have an idea, and then I go, okay, what is it? Hit me with it, and then he tells me, okay. In my mind, sometimes I'm like, is it going to work? Is that not going to work or whatever? But I just from the beginning, after the first two or three, I just said, hey, you know what? Whatever you say, I'm going to do. So he comes up with the ideas. He comes over with the groceries at times and his camera. We do the filming here at home. It doesn't take long, but it's a lot of fun. And then I think the longest part is just the editing. He goes home and edits for about I don't know, another few hours, or probably some for the Back to the Future was, I think, half a day maybe. And then we just release it every time as soon as it's done.
That's actually a pretty quick turnaround for editing. I could tell you firsthand, editing is a pain in the ass. I mean, that's like 90% of it. So
I'm sure you have with your experience and knowing what it takes to edit, and that from people I've heard, it's quite fast. So he's done a great job.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And then does he have a background in film production or TV or anything? Because the camera angles, the eye lines, all that stuff is great. It makes it look like it's a multi-camera setup.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to have someone like him part of my bubble, but also a close friend, and also like you mentioned, he's been in the industry for a while, so he's very experienced and he knows exactly what he's doing.
So, do we get a sneak peek is there any new one that you guys have in the works or any ideas that you're bouncing around?
Nah. So at the moment, like we just released this one last night, and it was fun because we just filmed it the day before. It took like maybe 2 hours in my garage, 2 or 3 hours. We were just filming, changing clothes and all that. But he came up with the idea just the day before that. So at the moment, I haven't heard from him. He hasn't sort of texted me or called and said, hey, should we do this or should we do that? There's nothing in the pipeline at the moment. But as soon as we do have an idea, we'll work on it straight away.
That's awesome. Well, keep it up. I love the positivity. It's fun. I mean, there's so much negativity, especially on boxing Twitter and just Twitter in general. And I think right now there's all this uncertainty in the world. So your videos have been awesome. I've shared them. Like, I'll tell you, I've shared them with my fiance. She loves them. My mother, she loves them. It's just funny. Like, and I think it's because you're a big guy. To see a big guy that could get in the ring and handle himself, he's got hands, but then he's having a little fun and joking around. I try to do the same thing on my social media, so I really appreciate it, and they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
the best part about it is that that's actually who I am. And I mean, leading into a fight, I think it is quite hard to show this side because the fight is, okay, you have to be serious. You're going into this fight. You have to show that you're very prepared and you're taking it, you're taking it seriously, and so it's really hard to show this side of things before a fight. So even though the situation isn't the best with having the lockdown, but it's sort of it's enabled me to show what I'm really like at home.
Yeah, I think, you're one of the few fighters right now. Of course, no fighters are active, but I think your profile has increased. You've gained more fans during this lockdown, which is very, very rare, and you've done it in this positive way. So keep it up, man. But we're here to talk boxing, so let's get to the boxing. Yeah. I know that you started boxing early because your father's name's Dempsey, and of course he's named after the great Jack Dempsey. I know he started teaching you boxing as a kid, but when did you actually start your amateur career, like as far as actual sanctioned fights in the amateurs?
Yeah, my dad, like you said, welcomed me into boxing at a young age, 3-4 years old. First memories of holding up his hand and punching it. My first actual fight as an amateur fighter was when I was 12 years old. I had my first fight, and I was still, I remember that fight. I was very nervous, didn't know what to expect. I was short and a bit chubby, but the guy that I was fighting was sort of same height but chubbier than me, so he made me look like I was in good shape. But that's my first memory of fighting was when I was 12 years old.
Wow. So, okay, I think, a lot of fans, particularly here in the United States, may not know that about you, that you actually started boxing at a very young age. And I think your first international fight, correct me if I'm wrong, that was at 16 years of age, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
16 years old, I started fighting internationally, yeah.
When did you know, this is a question I always ask fighters, when did you think to yourself, as a young person, because I mean, young people try different things, and maybe you'll pick up a guitar for a summer, then you put that down, then you maybe pick up a baseball bat, you put that down. But when did you know, as a boxer, hey, I think I could do this. I think I can maybe do this for a living.
Yeah, I think it was by the age of 16 when I first, probably 15, 16. I was that age, and I was fighting guys who were in their 20s. And I was getting good results from that. And boxing has always been a dream of mine ever since a young age. I always wanted to be champion of the world, and I always wanted to make money, look after my parents. So I think it was that age, probably 15 or 16, where I thought, man, I could really do something with this boxing. And there was always rugby, there was volleyball. I played the guitar, the piano, do this and do that. But boxing I was always drawn to boxing. And then I think I had a passion for it at a very young age.
Yeah, you hinted at something there. I think a lot of fans don't know this about you as well. You play different instruments, correct?
Yeah, here at home. I got piano, I got a guitar, I got the drums. I'm actually learning the drums at the moment, but I love music. In boxing, everything's about rhythm. I mean, a lot of it's about rhythm. So, right. When I'm in the gym, when I'm at home, I turn on the music, I dance. I box, I train. I just have a good time.
So you got a lot of different things going on where you could have a future outside of boxing, maybe one day, where you're doing something in the entertainment field. I think maybe you're starting to build up your demo reel right now with these social media videos. Let's talk about your family a little bit. You have 3 daughters. You and your partner have 3 daughters. And what has that been like? How has having a family and having 3 kids changed you as a fighter? I know that's going to affect fight camp, definitely, but just your mentality and just the way, the scope of things and how you see it all. How has that changed you?
I think being a father, firstly, I love my daughters with all my heart. I mean, they're 3 beautiful young girls, and I spent with this lockdown, spending a lot of time with them, quality time. I think being a father, just being a father in general, and for boxing, I think it's helped me. It's made me more mature. It's made me actually, like, I can honestly say that in the past, I haven't done everything right in camps and we're leading up to fights, and I've mucked around here and there. But I think as a father, I've matured. I have extra motivation. I'm doing everything right now. And I guess it's because because you're trying to do it for yourself, of the goals that you have, but you're trying to do it for them as well, and to set up their future and to help them live a better life than some people live.
Right. Do your kids like watching your fights?
My daughter's 3 years old. The other one's 1 year old, and the other.
Oh, they're too young. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
The 3-year-old loves watching. The
really?
3-year-old loves watching. She's come to a fight. She's like, "Oh, Daddy, you're gonna be boxing that guy. You're gonna smash him." I said, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
How about Lane?
Yeah, Laney. I've been with Laney.
Oh, Laney. Sorry about that. So it's Laney.
Oh, that's okay. Lane. Yeah, we've been together since we're school days. So I think over 12 years we've been together. She's always been supportive. I know in the beginning of my career I didn't have much, and she always looked after me and supported me and was always there for me. So we're a very strong couple, but she's also very supportive. And I've missed all 3 births of my daughters. Training and making money for us and fighting. So she's very she doesn't always being there and doesn't really put me down or doesn't say anything. But she's just a strong woman on her own.
Does she like watching your fights, or does she get nervous? Does she not want to see it?
She loves watching. She loves watching, and she doesn't really get nervous. I think the person who gets nervous the most would be my parents, mostly my dad. He's at the fights, wherever the fights are, whether it's in America or in the UK. But he's there, but he doesn't really, like, you can see him. He's not really watching. Like, he's sort of looking to the side and sort of looking down. And so, but Lainey, I don't think she gets nervous anymore because she knows that I'm actually taking it a lot more seriously than I did in the past, and I'm working hard every day, and I'm staying focused and staying prepared.
That's interesting. So the guy who brought you into boxing is the one that gets the most nervous at your fights.
The guy that brought me into boxing tried to take me out of boxing one time when I was an amateur because I didn't put on a good performance, and I was getting a little bit beaten up from guys from overseas. So he said to me, "Son, you should boxing is a hard sport. You should." And I said, "Dad, it's too late. You introduced me. I love the sport, so please just support me."
Yeah, once you get that bug, it's kind of a lifelong thing. Well, let's talk about, plans for the future. I mean, right now with Ring Magazine, we have you rated number 7th in the world in the heavyweight division. I think you're number 6 with the BC, number 2 with the BO. So you're highly ranked, and that means, you could be lined up for a title shot anytime, but with the COVID thing and the lockdown, everything's been put on hold, obviously. When do you think you'll be back in the ring? Have you talked to your management at all about that?
Yeah, I want to be in the ring as soon as we can. I know, like you said, everything's uncertain at the moment. So the team behind the scenes are working on something. I just said, in the meantime, all I'm doing is training and just staying prepared. But my goal is to, like you said, the rankings are good, but and the past opponents that I've had, probably the last 2 haven't been like the best or what people expect. And I've always been one to want the best fights that I can get, and I want to fight the top 5 or 10 in the world. And that just shows that I'm eager to get back to being champion of the world again. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure when we'll see a fight happen. I mean, I think everything's on hold at the moment for everyone.
Yeah, a few of the promoters over here on this side of the world, they've talked about getting back to maybe some club level shows in June, perhaps July, but there wouldn't be a crowd. It would just kind of be in a studio where it would just be the commission folks and everything. Has your management talked about that at all? Anything like that?
Yeah, they've passed some ideas around about having a fight here in New Zealand and who the opponent can be or might be. And, they're looking at different venues and what's the restrictions and what's the criteria. So they are working behind the scenes as hard as they can. But like I said, it's very uncertain how things will play out.
What's the lockdown situation like currently over there? Because here in the United States, a few states have opened up a little bit. Most of them will probably be open by the end of this month. What's the latest over there in New Zealand?
The latest is that when it first started, we were in lockdown. We went to level 4 straight away. So we're in there for 4 weeks. At the moment, we're down to level 3. And then I think, after another probably a week, we'll probably go down to level 2. But there'll still be things in place where we can do this or we can't do this. But it's heading in the right direction. And I think we can see that there's a lot of improvement. There's still a long way to go, but I think the amount of people getting sick is probably there's not many every day, or there's none.
Yeah, as they say, the curve is flattened. I know here, so I think it looks like we're going in a positive direction. But a lot of the gyms over here closed, and a lot of fighters really couldn't get in the gym and do any serious training. People could run, they could do things at home, like work on the bag, skip rope, but have you had the opportunity to train at all during this time, or have you just kind of taken this time just to be with your family?
I've taken this opportunity to train every day. I'm pretty blessed throughout my career. I was able to set up a gym here at home. I have a treadmill. I got the weights, the kettlebells, bench, chin-up bar, bike, everything. The only thing, and a big mirror for shadow boxing. The only thing as a fighter that I should have that I don't have at the moment is a punching bag, and because that's at my parents' house. And since I haven't left the house, I wasn't able to go there and do boxing training. But everything else, I think at the moment I am in shape. And when I do start camp, it's not about losing weight or getting in shape again. It'll be about learning different combinations, techniques, skills, and I'll be at a better starting point.
That's great. If you had a choice of opponent, and I know you can't go right back to a top opponent or a title shot your first fight back, but probably next year, 2021, at some point, you could be lined up for a title shot. Is there any particular fighter that you'd like to face? I mean, you had a loss to Anthony Joshua. You had a loss to Dillian White. Would you like to rematch one of those guys, or is there somebody else you have your eye on?
It was quite entertaining. And he was, obviously he was a better man on that day, but I still believe in my heart that I can beat him. So I would love the opportunity to have a rematch with him and to show that what I can do.
You dropped off a little bit there for a second. I assume you were talking about Dillian White?
Yeah, okay. I would love to have a rematch with Dillian White because, the first fight was very entertaining. And I guess if we did have a fight, if we did have another fight, I know I can beat him, even though he was a better man on that day.
Okay. What about between right now, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? It seems likely they'll fight a third time. I don't know if it'll be this year. They're still trying to wait all that out. The original date, I think, was October 3rd, but I'm not sure if that could be worked out for this year, perhaps early next year. When those two fight again, who do you think is going to take that one?
Yeah, I think the first fight, I thought that Fury did enough to win, even though it was a draw. The second fight, he proved that he made a lot of improvements and different changes and helped him with the second fight. I think the third fight plays out the same. I think my own opinion is that I think Fury will probably win again. I mean, he's an awkward fighter. He can box, he can move, he can come forward, he can fight, and I think he's gained a lot of confidence with the first two fights they've had.
Yeah, going into their rematch, Fury was saying, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to come forward. And I didn't believe him. I don't think most people believed him. Were you surprised when you watched that fight at the way he fought and how he was so dominant in that fight?
I didn't expect the dominance performance he put on. It was actually a great boxing. It was great to watch. And I didn't. He said, like you said, I'm like you. I didn't believe that he was going to come forward and chase him down and put the foot down and throw combinations to try and get him out of there. I thought, okay, he'll move, he'll come forward, he'll move, he'll come forward. But from the start, he put him, he put the foot down on the pedal and chased him around the ring. And I think that surprised everyone.
Yeah, including Wilder. I think he didn't really know how to react at that point. Wilder had all these knockouts, and people were comparing him to some of the all-time great heavyweight punchers and all this. There was a lot of hyperbole around all that, in my opinion. But how do you think, now that the stigma, or not stigma, that's the wrong word, the hype has been burst a little bit, and now people see that Deontay Wilder is human. Do you think he can ever get back to that level that he was at, or do you think to a certain degree he's been figured out a little bit?
I still think that he can. I still think that he can get back. I believe he was a great champion when he was a champion, and just because Fury is one of a kind. There's no other fighter who's 6'9", who can move as fluid as he can, or can as a heavyweight. And I think Wilder can come back. I think he's got a lot of heart, and he's a very proud man. And he can. He's still dangerous. He's still got that knockout power. He possesses that knockout power.
I agree. I think that he's actually going to be competitive in that third fight. I know a lot of people think that Fury is just going to plow right through him. I think the third fight's going to be close. I think Wilder's going to show something because I agree with you. I think he's got a lot of heart.
Yeah.
But so you favor Fury to win that fight, and I think most people do. If it could be worked out, and who knows with the business of boxing, it might not.
Yeah.
But if you know where I'm going, if he fights Anthony Joshua, a man that you've been in the ring with, how do you see that playing out?
That'll be another great fight. Two great champions, both wanting to be unified champion of the world, or to be the best ever heavyweight in our era. I'll still back Fury with that fight. Joshua is a great fighter and a great champion, but my opinion is that I think Fury will take that out as well.
Okay, and one thing I wanted to ask, we do a kind of a feature in Ring Magazine called The Best I've Faced, and we ask fighters a series of questions about just different skill sets, the best fighter you face with the best, be it jab, defense, chin, whatever it is, and then the best overall. So I just want to go down a list with you. And I guess you can include amateurs if you'd like, because I know you fought some top amateurs. I mean, Filip Hrgovic, Tony Yoka. I know you fought Junior Fa. A lot of these young heavyweights that are coming up now. But who would you say is the most skillful fighter you've ever faced, and why?
The most skillful fighter, I guess, would have to be, I would say, Andy Ruiz, skill-wise. He had a lot of skill, and he showed it in the fight that we had. And he was a person who was a little bit, he was difficult to hit. And I think with all the experience that he had as an amateur, really helped him in the professionals. And he'll be at the top of probably the most skilled, one of the most skilled.
What about the best jab?
I think the best jab would be Anthony Joshua. With his jab, he was able to keep me at bay, and I wasn't able to sort of get in there, and he boxed a lot better than I thought he would box.
What about best defense?
Best defense? Wow, best defense. Well, I think as an amateur, when I did fight Hrgovic, I wasn't able to catch him a lot in the in our amateur fight that we had. So his defense was quite good, even in the amateurs.
And when you fought him, I think you were probably, 18, 19 years old, something like that?
Yeah, we were both 18 years old, and we fought in Azerbaijan.
Okay. And what made him difficult to hit? Did he just use his height well? Was it – because he seems, now in the pros, I wouldn't say stiff, but he's not a guy that's known as a mover, uses his head movement. Yeah. How did he stay so elusive?
I remember with that fight, he used his height and his reach very well, and he didn't move a lot, but he just sort of slowly just walked me down. I did a lot of moving, and I guess with that walking down, he tired me out, and he used his height and reach well in that fight.
Interesting. Okay,
he picked his shots as well. Picked his shots good. What
about the best chin?
The best chin would have to be Andy Ruiz. He's I hit him with a few good clean shots, which I think had a bit of pop behind him, but he just ate it up and kept coming forward. So
yeah, he's shown a really good chin. What do you think it is about him that makes him able to absorb shots so well?
I think it might be the body type. He's sort of a compact fighter, and he's just in there. And I think, he's just what's the word to describe it? He's just it's like his chin sort of tucks into his neck, and he comes forward, and he just absorbs him.
It's almost he rolls with the punches. Is that what it is?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, he's sort of compact, but yes, he does roll with the punches. So you don't really catch him clean.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of the Mexican fighters have that move where as soon as they see a shot coming, they just roll with it. And
They roll.
who's the best puncher you've faced?
Um, Probably I would have to say Dillian White because he's the first one to drop me. So, but the person that actually caught me with the flush shot that actually I felt the most.
Hello?
And
Oh, you broke up again. I
oh,
didn't hear the name. So could you repeat the name?
oh, sorry. Yeah. Probably the hardest puncher would be Andy Ruiz. I mean, Dylan White did drop me, but with Ruiz, I really felt the sting in the punch when he threw a punch.
Interesting. Do you remember what shot it was?
I think it was a left hook, and for the whole fight, I was deaf in one ear.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, I've heard, Andy can come up with those hooks. I just think it's the angle he punches at that makes those punches snappy.
And the speed as well. Yeah.
That brings me to my next one. I was going to ask you who's got the fastest hands.
Yeah, fastest hands would be Andy Ruiz. I always said before the fight I had faster hands than him. So we're still debating who got faster hands.
Okay. What about the fastest feet?
Fastest feet. Ooh, probably Joshua. At that level, would be Joshua. The moving back and moving forward and moving sideways. It was hard to hit.
Yeah, he used a lot of movement in that fight. It seemed he was moving backward, and did that frustrate you? Obviously, it had to frustrate you, right?
Yeah, he was moving back, and I was chasing him down. Then the ref would, jump in. But if I could have, as a fighter, that's where you sort of you see the different levels of fighters when you can adapt and change in the fight. And I guess in that fight, I didn't really adapt and change to what I should have done better. So it was frustrating, but it was all learning. And I guess if I did have another fight with him, it'd be great, so I can show what I've learned and show what I've improved, and hopefully try and get the win off him.
Have you gone back and watched that fight a few times?
I watched it a few times. Yeah, I did quite good in the beginning, and then halfway, the second half of the fight, I dropped. And like I said, in the past, I haven't done everything right. I went into that camp at 123 kgs, and I cut down to 170 kgs. So instead of using the camp as a way of practicing the skills and doing good sparring, I was focused on losing weight and trying to get in shape, which is not the best way to start a camp.
Right. Okay, a few more. Smartest fighter and strongest fighter.
Strong fighter would be, I would say, Dillian White. Just he used his body, and I wasn't expecting that, and he roughed me up and pushed me around, and I should have countered that. But and then he would be sort of like the one on the top of the stronger fighters that I've faced.
What about smartest?
Smartest would be again Anthony Joshua. Very, it was a tactical fight, and he did enough. He did to do the win. And he didn't overdo it. He didn't underdo it. He just did enough. And yeah.
And then, okay, so overall, you take all these categories. Overall, who would you say is the best you have fought so far in your career?
The best that I've fought in my career? I would say, Anthony Joshua.
And what makes him?
I would say I think he's the best.
What makes him the best overall?
I think as a fighter, like for me, the experience I had with him is that very professional, leading into the fight, very professional after the fight, but also what he did in the ring, being able to, use his jab and his boxing skills to keep me at bay and use his reach and his height very well. And I think overall, he's probably the best opponent that I face.
And I'm sure you were shocked like I was, and we all were, when Andy Ruiz beat him. It's two guys that you fought, and you saw that. When people started talking about the rematch, I told everybody that would listen, Anthony Joshua's going to win that rematch. He's just, in my opinion, the better fighter. Who did you favor going into that rematch? And how do you assess AJ's performance? Because he took some criticism for moving, but I thought it was a good performance.
I thought it was a great performance. I thought it was a boxing lesson. And going into the rematch fight, I mean, the first fight was like yourself. I was very shocked and surprised of the way that he knocked him out of there. The rematch, I made some money from my family because we had bets on, and I bet that Joshua was going to win the fight, so my family paid up.
Nice.
And I like you, I think that was a great performance because he did what he had to do. He boxed, he moved, he punched without getting hit, and he became the unified champion of the world 2 times.
Yeah, I agree. I could not understand why he took criticism for that performance. I thought it was great that he showed he could win in a different way. And that's, to me, part of showing that you're a great fighter is that you can win in different ways. So
yeah, a lot of fighters after a fight and losing, I think they come into the second fight as a rematch worried or scared or like there's a lot of emotion that comes into it. And he was he was confident. He did what he had to do. And I'm with you. He shouldn't have taken too much criticism for that fight.
Joseph, I can't thank you enough for taking some time to talk with me. I'm sure you need to get back to Lainey and the girls and enjoy your weekend. Keep the great social media videos coming, my friend, and I hope to see you back in the ring soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to catching up in the near future.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
You too, brother. Thank you so much.